Welcome to the Limitless Brave Show. Today I have an amazing guest. She has quite the list of accomplishments. We're going to get into them really quick. At 13, she was brought to LA from where? Colorado to audition for pilot season. And in the same year, at 13, started her professional acting career. And she's studied in London, at ACT in San Francisco. You've been a field producer for the Special Olympics, World Games in 2015, and you were one of 10 women chosen to take part in the Women Excel project. You've directed your first documentary, I Am America, in 2019 with Creative Visions, and this year was accepted into UCLA
to finish my bachelor's degree, finally.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, excellent. And then you're currently working on finishing your first feature documentary on voting rights.
Yeah.
Does My Vote Count? And then one of the most interesting parts to me, you've mended a relationship with your father after 7 years of not speaking.
Yeah.
Folks, welcome Emily Karlsson.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here.
Oh my gosh. It's nice to be here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like a little full circle too, because we've known each other quite some time.
We have.
And to, I think, both be in different phases of our lives now, like different chapters.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen each other evolve.
Yeah. So it's exciting to see this taking shape and very exciting to be part of it.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to round up the most exciting people I know. You're one of them.
Thank you.
Out there doing things, a mover and a shaker.
Thank you. I'll take it. Yeah. I hope to be more of a mover and a shaker every year.
Yep.
You know, just like growing younger. Kind of.
Yep.
Right.
You and me both.
Yeah.
So you grew up all over the world.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes. Yeah, my dad is Swedish.
Okay.
And my mom is an original Valley girl from here in Los Angeles. And she was a hippie who joined the circus, had kind of like this wild life, then met my dad, who was 10 years younger than her. And then they got married very quickly, had me, and moved to Sweden with me. And then that relationship did not last very long. So at the age of 3, they got divorced. My dad went back to Sweden, and I ended up kind of like in different places with my mom. The Bay Area, where I have a lot of family, Richmond, Oakland. That was in like the late 80s, early 90s. Not a nice place to have a lot of your first memories.
No.
But also a very kind of like global melting pot of different types of people. And that was really, I think, special and kind of formed me as a little human being. And then I moved to Colorado, where my mom had some best friends, and was kind of there in Sweden, California, kind of all over, being tugged around.
Wow.
After that experience. Yeah.
And this was all around the age of 3 to like what?
Yeah. 3 to I would say by the time I was like 8, I was kind of settled in Colorado, and then I had this amazing opportunity where I was invited to come to Los Angeles, and my mom's parents were here, and so it felt like the right time, and I was invited because I kind of fell into this acting manager that was working in Aspen, Colorado, and just happened to have some of like the big kid stars that she was repping. She loved to live in Colorado for some reason. I did a class with her. She found me. She put me up with a big agency to audition for them.
And so you were living in Aspen?
So I was in Boulder, which is about
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I was in Boulder, and I would travel to Aspen
Really?
during the summers to go work with this woman, and it was really like happenstance. I went there because a friend, at the age of, I guess I was 12, 13 at that age, she was doing classes, and so I said, yeah, I'll come do it. I have nothing else to do. My mom did not have the money for any of this kind of stuff. She was a really struggling single mom, but I think she ended up like trading with this woman. Like I ended up kind of like helping her and like helping with the classes and stuff like that, because I just kind of fell in love with it. And I would say it was kind of the first work I did that kind of opened me up as a human being. I think it was very much like self-help, kind of like that early stage of work.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that really kind of opened my eyes to just being real and more authentic as a human being, which I think as like a tween, you really, really need, because you're just so fucked up and hormonal.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, it was a really incredible experience. And then I got to audition for this agency, and they said yes. And I was one of, a very small handful of kids that was invited to come to LA and work with this big theatrical agency, and be here for the spring. So that's kind of what changed my trajectory, I think, for good and bad, because then school really became second place to me, because then I had like seen the world, what was possible in this kind of professional, dream big, go for the stars kind of world of being in LA. And I think, again, living in Colorado, that was very like white bread world. It was pretty shocking and wonderful to come back to a big city like LA and have this really eclectic experience of what life was like.
Yeah, because when was that? What years were you in Colorado?
So this
Like
were
early 80s or something like that?
late 80s. I'm not that old yet, Dave.
I don't know.
But no, so yeah, it was in the mid 90s. And then I came out to California, I think it was 2000, 2001. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still in Boulder at that point in time. I was out in that area around that time, maybe a little earlier. Wasn't too much going on.
No, it was a bizarre. Yeah, it was, amazing too. Like, it's such a beautiful place as well.
Yep.
You're given a lot of freedom, I think, as a kid, which can be good and bad.
Yep.
Knowing these places that you grow up, and it was a college town. So I think that also presented some, really fun things as a teenager, and some probably not so great things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so that kind of is up to speed now. Now we're at 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So at 13,
Yeah.
you're working with this lady. She says, "Hey, come out here to LA, do some auditioning."
Yeah.
You do the auditioning, and then now that's the beginning of pilot season, right?
Yeah.
In the spring.
Yeah.
Or do you have any roles yet? Or
Yeah. No.
what's going on?
It was miserable. I think it was once I came out to LA, it was also this like very strange time in my life. I had had my first boyfriend back in Colorado, and he had cheated on me and broke my heart. And so that was like that first thing that you're experiencing, as a human. And then here I am kind of being thrown in the face with this opportunity of having a really big career. And it just so happened it coincided with the first giant writer's strike that hit Hollywood that year. And so that was basically, from that year, that's how we got things, I think, like Survivor and all of these big reality shows that would come. So it was a really odd time to be in the industry, but I still got close to some big things. I met some amazing people. I met a lot of people that would become really big stars. Met a lot of people that should have become really big stars and didn't, It was it's such a strange thing to be really bombarded by that industry. And then obviously,
Definitely.
as a young person, I think I was really lucky that I didn't have anything traumatizing happen to me. But it was kind of, once you were in the industry, you were aware that things were happening. And that was a really odd thing to kind of be privy to as well, that there were these things that were clearly not okay that were happening to younger people
Okay.
in order to get work or in order to move ahead or whatever.
So
Yeah.
I would definitely like to dig into that because I've
Yeah.
talked about that
Yeah.
stuff on another podcast.
Yeah.
Now, just to be clear, you and your mom moved here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically,
That's a huge commitment.
it's an insane commitment, and it was not one that was easy to make. But we were lucky, and we had supportive people around us that really helped, and some, lifelong dear friends that were made because of that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's something that people don't realize too, is that you kind of hear stories about now big stars that did do that. It's an insane commitment that these parents make. And I don't think, I think a lot of people do it kind of because they see, I think they get like stars in their eyes too, and I think in an innocent way, they're like, oh, maybe I should do this. I should do this for my kid that's making her so happy. Was it the best move? I don't know. But
So the reality can be really brutal.
super brutal.
Really, really bad.
Yeah.
Destroy lives.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Yeah.
talking about that age and what
Yeah.
is going, like, what did you see stuff? Like, what was going on?
I was so lucky. I was so lucky I didn't experience really crazy things. I experienced a lot of weird things said to me, mostly by women. I think it was this kind of old Hollywood still mentality of like where they would, I was 13 and they'd be like, you need to dress more sexy. No, you need to stop dressing sexy. No, your nose is too big. No, your nose is too small. Like they would just say she's not really pretty enough. Well, but she's kind of too pretty for this role. It was like these weird, bizarre things as a kid where you're like, now I think it wouldn't be PC to say this kind of stuff.
Sure.
But it'd be like, like I would have like a manager be like, show your boobs when you go in there, or no, cover it up. Like, don't, like be a little more modest, but very intense things said. But then at the same time, there were, people that I knew that, had difficult situations that had happened to them. And at the time, it was kind of almost not like laughed at, but just kind of like, this is how the industry is. It was kind of expected. Like, this acting coach that's so famous and well-known and renowned, he was in jail for a little bit because he slept with somebody that was underage, and now he's out, and, and he likes young boys, and that's just who he is. It was like, it wasn't like we need to stop this or this obviously isn't okay or somebody's a predator. Like that kind of language was never used yet. It was very odd that was just so like prevalent
and normal. Hey, Dave, here with the
normalized in a
Brave
weird
show.
way.
I hope
Yeah.
you've been enjoying the show as much as I have been enjoying making it for you. And I want to introduce our next guest. And this guest is doing some amazing stuff in the world. Please welcome Woobies. Now, I've recently partnered with this company because of their incredible mission. Their mission is to put a pair of Woobies on every homeless vet's feet. That's a huge mission, and it's one I can get behind. So guys, if you go and purchase a pair of Woobies, a homeless vet's gonna get a pair of shoes for free. And we need to help out our vets because they put their life on the line so that we can live in this incredible country. And so I was very curious about this company. I flew down to Dallas, Texas, where their headquarters is. I spent the day with the CEO, and let me tell you, these guys are on point. And not only that, it's a veteran-owned company. So it's veterans helping veterans. What an awesome mission. So these are the Mod 2s, and this is the high top version. They also make a low top version. These shoes can be worn on land and in the water. This is the official shoe of Naval Special Operations Dive School. Guys, if Special Operations is using this shoe, you can too. And so I took my Woobies to New York City recently, to Washington, D.C., and around Los Angeles. And let me tell you, they were comfortable right out of the box and something that I enjoyed wearing. They have a true paracord shoelace and a certified non-slip sole. So if you need a certified non-slip sole for your work, these are the shoes. And this is a canvas upper, and it breathes and dries really quick. So if you're in and out of the water, like I am when I'm diving, these things are awesome. They have a lot of different colorways for you to check out. So please go support their mission at woobies.com. Yeah, I was on a different podcast and I talked about that, about the perpetrators. Because I was talking about Me Too and it starting as a good thing.
Right.
But then it kind of got blown out of proportion, as those things kind of do. And I simply said, perpetrators, those perpetrators are not, they don't need to be a part of this society. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because you're not only you're affecting society in general, but you're damaging young people and harming them emotionally, physically.
Right.
And that's just not okay. But
Yeah.
you hear the stories. You're someone that's been in the industry. You've seen it yourself. You know people that it happened to. And it's not cool at all.
I think weirdly enough, from my experience, which obviously is, I think it's very relative, but I knew more young men that had really uncomfortable situations with both men and women. But I think maybe because, obviously it happens to who it happens to and it's awful, but I think there was less awareness around it. There was so much shame for like the young man that would have to go through something like that, because it's like, like for an example, a friend of mine was picked by, a very big manager with huge stars under his belt. And he saw my friend, who was, I think, in a little commercial or something like that in Colorado, saw him, said, "I think you're a star. I think you're amazing. Me and my wife want you to come move in with us in LA. You can have this guest house. Like, we just think you're amazing, And here's this young guy. I think maybe he was 18 at the time, but, he's got stars in his eyes and he's like, this person just thinks I'm the best thing. He thinks I'm so talented, And then, of course, like, I don't know, it went a very dark turn, but I think there's a lot of shame and feelings of like confusion for the victim of who it happens to. And I think that's why like talking about it is so important, because it's like these things happen to us even as kids, right? It's like we all remember playing doctor, and then, it can be really fun. Yeah. And then there's the one person that just like wants to do the power grab and do something that's like clearly not okay.
Yeah.
And like what you're saying, I think it's like learning those skills from an early age to be like, no, and know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And when somebody's trying just to like take advantage.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened in that situation? And would you be comfortable talking about it? Or
I feel like I probably shouldn't, just on like the rare, chance that it would make that person uncomfortable. But I think he handled it the best he could. I think he got out of that situation.
Okay. Good.
Maybe a little bit too late, but he got out of that situation.
Okay.
But I think it's so damaging, because besides like the physical effect that it can have on a person, it's always the confusion of, did I do something wrong? Did I make the mistake by going into that hotel room? Is this my fault that I did that? Or I thought that this person really, thought so highly of me, and do they? Was I just a chump in this situation?
Yeah.
I think that's difficult.
It is
to untangle.
To admit what happened, whether you were consciously aware of really what was going on or not. That's really hard.
Yeah.
And, as a guy even, that is really difficult.
And as a young man, or, and certainly I know other friends that were under, 18, it's like that, it's so confusing. I think and again, the things that women have to deal with are absurd still to this day, but, I think for a man, there's still a lot more stigma that they feel uncomfortable sharing around it, because again, it's like it's breaking your masculinity in a way of like, I can't keep myself safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And well, you've worked with me and some of my clients, and we've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
How devastating it can be.
Yeah. I think it's just a reminder too, like we all need to take care of each other, because it's not, I think when, like we've talked about in your work, it's like, men have this feeling of like, am I allowed to hold the door open for a woman, or am I allowed to do this thing, or go, is she going to just think I'm some pervy person for saying she looks beautiful, or, and it's all the same stuff of like, we're both going through these things. So if we can acknowledge that and just know that, both parties want to keep each other safe, like, of course, then you can do that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this takes one to blow it out of proportion on each side, and
I know.
we end up with these messes that we have.
Exactly. And there's so many, I think that's the other thing. There's so many more good people.
Totally.
And people trying to help each other.
Totally.
And I think that's where this like, these really intense like polarizations of everything that we're dealing with and seeing, because it just takes one bad thing, one bad guy to make everybody look bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. 100%. And, wow, yeah. That's kind of uncanny that, that you were just talking about this and I had just talked about it.
I know. I wasn't expecting to go down this road.
Yeah, me either. Not at all.
It's an important road. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely is. I mean, people need to understand, coming into Los Angeles, into the entertainment industry, it is not what I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I travel, you travel a lot, and you know how people are with, if you don't live here, you don't understand what's going on in the industry, the starstruck kind of thing happens. Like, oh, I'm like, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and it's a weird thing. I think all of us want to be seen, I think, on some level, right?
Sure.
So I think it's an easy thing to kind of come here. And I think now it's less with social media. Now there's less people that want to be actors. But I think for so long it was like, I want to be seen. I got to go be an actor. Like, this is what I do.
Yep.
Or maybe a musician if I have some kind of talent like that. But I think that's part of that. Like, let me be seen. And then you have these people that, basically use that against you. Like, I can help you be seen,
Sure. Yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You just have to be careful. Definitely.
Yeah. I think, you have to know your own self-worth. And again, it really is like being in the playground, like in the sandbox. It's like, are you going to let the bully just like throw sand all over you?
Yeah.
When are you going to be like, no, not okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with you. It's not okay behavior.
Exactly.
Yep. And doing that before it's too late.
Yeah. Have to be able to be ready to do that. And to your point, before it's way too late.
And easier said than done, for sure. Like, I don't want to, and I think there are certainly huge black and white scenarios that happen to people that are so upsetting, and obviously there's nothing you can do about it. And then you have to have the journey of how to get through the car accident that you just went through.
Yep.
But then I think there are a lot of those gray areas where people just beat themselves up for years.
Yes.
Because it's like, well, how did I let myself get to that point? Why did I decide to open that door?
Yeah, it is interesting and devastating at the same time. So, yeah, like you said, definitely wasn't ready to go there, but we went there.
Oh, yeah.
You escaped. You weren't targeted. You weren't taken advantage of.
Yeah, very lucky.
You actually went and had a great professional career.
I did, yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
So let's get into that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I felt, I kind of went in and out of, obviously it was very expensive to try to come here every year to Los Angeles. But yeah, I got really good. I had an amazing agent that I found, or who found me in Colorado. And then I was able in Colorado to do a lot of like commercial work. I did, I think, first little like indie feature horror film there.
Cool.
And yeah, and I actually got to really had an amazing acting teacher and an amazing agent who were close friends. So like basically through being a teenager, I was with them and learned a lot through these like two incredible men and felt so safe, so heard. Yeah, and I think we're really able to help me in many ways professionally and in many ways creatively. And then, yeah, and then at 18, I tried, like, I went to London for a summer, did an amazing summer program there. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life. And then auditioned for all of these fancy schools like Juilliard and stuff like that, and didn't get in.
Okay.
And then was like, shit, what do I do now? And then kind of wanted to take a break because I felt kind of beat up from acting. And I'm like, is this really kind of giving me what I want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a difficult job.
Yeah. And I think given that too, and given kind of the audition process of going around the country and the world to kind of do these, you know, these huge school auditions was so, I don't know, you know, it was really tough to not get into these dream schools. And yeah, I needed a break. So I ended up back in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and then I was studying at ACT. And so I was still studying acting, but I was kind of like on the peripheral for a while of like, do I really want to jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you were doing commercial work for people that don't know what that is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What is commercial work?
I was doing like a commercial for like Sports Authority or, you know, or like the Suit Outlet or whatever it was. But, you know, they have basically like your national commercials at the time that would be running on television. And then they would have basically like statewide commercials that I think they still have, you know, so they're probably a little bit smaller, but they have them in every state. And that's kind of what I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what commercial work is, but
No,
a lot of people don't know what commercial work is.
Yeah.
And
it's very different now, obviously.
Yeah.
With social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. The game has changed a little bit.
A lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, okay. Doing the commercial work, you go back to San Francisco. Yeah. You're at ACT.
Yeah.
And what's going on?
What was going on there? Well, the guy that I had been dumped by when I was 13, I rekindled a romance with him. I think I just wasn't just wasn't finished yet. And he and I basically moved to California together, and I kind of had this wild life. He was totally not an easy person, loved me a lot, but had a lot of his own issues, like drug addiction and stuff like that. So I kind of was just spending my early 20s figuring out that part of life. And then at a certain point, I realized like I really did want to move to Los Angeles. My grandparents were here, which was like a huge push. And so I think I felt like I had that kind of like family support if I came here. And yeah, so I think at 23, I came back out here and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to pursue acting and I'm going to give it one more good run.
So you took what, about a 5-year break from working professionally? 18 to 23, something like that?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Which now looking back might not have been the smartest idea, but I think it gave me time to like really kind of rebuild some stuff with myself and still kind of be studying and becoming a better actor too. Yeah.
What, just so people know, I know what kind of work you guys put into doing what you do. Can you take us through what it's like to be a professional actress? All the work that goes into it.
Well, you know what's funny now being a director? I feel like I have so much more empathy in some ways for actors, and then I have so much less patience in some ways too. And I think being around actors for that many years in my life, that's probably why I went into more unscripted and documentary, because I was like, I just want to deal with real people and not fucking actors anymore. But I mean, it's there's a lot of different schools. Like I think it's very similar in some ways to the self-help community, where it's kind of almost like a religious dogmatic way of looking at the world, where there will be this group that's like, this is all about my sense memory. So there are people that want to go deep into their emotional, like wounded past to like pull things up. And there are classes that literally like just work on that with you. Or there are classes that literally just work on, like there's something called Alexander technique, which is really kind of phenomenal, right? It's still in the, it's also in the self-help world. But where you're really utilizing the body more to basically be able to express and get through these like deep emotions. And then there's kind of these other schools that's basically a little bit more logical driven. That's like, well, you just sit down and you shut up and you work on your imagination and you create a character. So, but all of them, I would say, I think a lot of it is because basically you're always going to be getting up in front of people and needing to either be really vulnerable or like really naked and make people laugh, whatever it is, like it's very vulnerable. So you're constantly kind of working on how to do that in front of people and be able to do that easily, kind of at the drop of a hat, How do I cry on cue? How do I memorize 90 pages of script? All of those kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I can never do.
Yeah. Never say never.
I don't want to say never.
Never.
I don't want to say never, but I mean, it's really difficult for me to remember lines. I'm sure there's a process for it, but
yeah, I think it's literally just like a muscle. Like you just build it, and then at a certain point, like, oh, this is how you do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dave here with the Limitless Brave Show, and gentlemen, this one's for you. Are you struggling with your dating life, or maybe your relationships? Possibly the marriage is on the rocks. Maybe you're having a difficult time making money. What about your health? Is that good, or is it in poor repair? And maybe you've tried everything you know how to do to climb that corporate ladder, but you're still not getting anywhere. Or if you're finished with the corporate world, you've been hesitant on starting that new business. Or maybe you just do not feel confident taking on one of the most unique roles we have as men, and that is being the protector. Guys, for the past 15 years as my full-time career, I've been coaching men all over the world on those topics and how to rise above everything that's holding them back to get that amazing dream life. I've been helping men understand the art of living masculine for a very long time, and I would love to help you. I have a very simple, nurturing, zero to hero philosophy when it comes to working with me. It's not anything difficult. It's not anything hard. It's not abusive. It's just common knowledge that I love to share with men to get their minds switched on in the right direction so that they can go out and live an amazing life that every man should. You want to know more about this? Check me out at limitlessbrave.com. Get signed up to my email list, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much work that goes into it, and I've worked with some phenomenal actors. I'm just thinking because I actually just saw an old friend of mine who's now in Chicago just booked a really big TV series, and I was seeing his work last night, and it was like it's for some cop show, and he's, it's really, really serious emotional work that he's doing. And I was just looking at him like, oh my God, this is the funniest guy I know. Like I miss watching him do just these amazing things. I would get to watch him do an acting class where I'd just be cracking up watching him for 20 minutes straight while he was doing a play. And I think that's part of what really good actors do, is that they can do all of it, and that they've been in these classes or working in theater where then they can just go do a TV show like that. And it's like, yeah, you want me to cry? Yeah, of course. I got
Yeah,
this,
sure. No problem.
Yeah. I think one of my girlfriends, she just did Matlock that's coming out with Kathy Bates, who's playing Matlock.
Okay.
And she literally had to cry for 2 days straight. That was her whole role, is just like a bawling, grieving mother. And
Wow.
I think that's the thing you don't realize takes, like, there are certain people that I think can do that and others that can't. And she's one of those people that's like, yeah, you want me to cry for 8 hours? Well, like the cameras are going and the lights are getting turned on. A problem. Like she can just do that.
It's amazing.
And really pull that emotion out, which I think is extraordinary and not easy.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Even when I'm really hurting, I can hardly cry.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's the training that you're asking
Yeah.
about. I think that's kind of what people are doing. They're trying to figure out, how do I do this on cue?
Yeah.
You know, how do I do this for hours at a time? Yeah.
That's incredible. And to continually tap into feeling that bad to get that emotion to come out. Ugh,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. And I think there are some people that love it and that have an easy time, maybe not easy, but like are down to go there all the time. And I think for me, I realized like that was tremendously difficult and at times kind of humiliating, because you'd get so close to something. Like I got really, really close to booking this huge film and like being one of the, stars of this like horror film. And it was like that you're going in and you're just having to like weep continually for this group of people that's just staring at you. You're having to go to these really dark, deep, scary places, and you're just like having to tell your body every time, like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then when you don't get it too, it's almost like you don't get the catharsis of being able to like work the whole thing out.
Yeah.
So I think that the audition process can be really hard on people, because
Yeah.
you kind of don't get to live the full story. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you or not, but
Yeah.
I've done some auditions for stunt work for skydiving.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've done it in the
You
past.
have to audition for that too.
Yeah. I was like, what am I auditioning for?
Yeah.
Like, you just want me to jump out of the plane? They're like, yeah, but you're going to be in this plane and like, you're going to be
several times.
turbulence. And so we need to see what it's like with you acting out turbulence. I'm like, well, I just sit there and ride it out.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like this group of people just staring at you.
Yeah. It's super
And
super
it's
unnerving.
So weird.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Understand that? Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. And there was like two of us at a time and like people were watching. And so I was like watching the other actors do what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I kind of like made up my own version of it. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I did get called back, but at the last minute they were like, no, because whoever wrote the casting call put the wrong skydive license requirement in there.
No.
It was one below what I had currently.
Those fuckers.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing, I mean, and that happens all the time. All the time. And that's the thing you have to realize. Like I still remember I did something for American Horror Story, which was such a fun project. And then about halfway through the day, I got, there was the director's niece showed up and they just replaced me with her. It was like I had auditioned and done all this stuff. It was like American Horror Story does promos every year. So it's like not part of the cast, but it's like part of their promo thing. And yeah, and you're just like, oh, that happened. And now like being on the other side of it, I mean, you hear all the time, like people are like, no, we can't hire her for this commercial because the ad exec says it looks like, his ex-wife. And now
Yeah.
they're not going
like,
for it.
all that.
It's just like
crazy-
weird stuff where you're just like, no, that's real. That's real.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with you. So yeah, you have to have a very thick skin. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just the two things that I've done
Yeah.
in just having that experience. And when you girls and the other girls I know talk
Yeah.
about your experience,
Yeah.
like I can know exactly how miserable that is. Yeah. It's an emotional roller coaster. And then you're like constantly questioning yourself.
Yeah. And
You
that's
said,
not fun.
did I do something wrong? Like, what's going on? Why was I told yes and now I'm being told no? Or like literally being in the middle of something and being replaced.
Yeah. So I think I was like, wow, I'm so much happier being in this other creative space. And I feel really creative in it in a way that I didn't get to have any kind of control in acting. And I think a lot of people forget that too. Like acting is like all the stuff you see is so little of what's actually going on behind the scenes, right? Like, and an actor is not in charge of, theater is different. I think theater is an epic, amazing experience, but
Yeah, good theater? Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible.
but But for film and television and stuff, it's like, there's an editor that's picking their favorite take. There's a director that's going to decide this. There's all these different things that are going into play where it's like you really, as the actor, you're just showing up, you're doing, what this person wants of you, and then you'll see if, you even like it in the end.
Yeah. Or if you even make the cut.
Right, exactly.
Right? Yeah, go there and work for a couple of days, or not a single scene.
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm glad we're having this discussion, so like people listening to this and like hopefully it'll quell some of their Hollywood dreams and redirect them to a place that that is better suited for them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think anything's possible, if
it is.
you're passionate about it. But at the same time, I think a lot of people may not be as passionate about the actual act of what it is.
Yes.
When you're up close in it. Yeah.
And you absolutely have to have that passion or it's never going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I just realized that I love story so much, and I do really love people and like the inner workings of what's really going on with them, which is I think why I've loved doing the work with you.
Yes, that is very true about you.
Yeah.
And of all the women that I've had working with my clients, you are one that is the most nurturing and the most astute when it comes to reading what's really going on at some kind of depth. It's really impressive to see.
Well, and I think it's true. And I think I didn't really understand that about myself until working with you for so long. But I realized too, I think that comes at some kind of like a detriment to me, and especially with acting, because I could read the room. I would know what somebody was thinking on the other side of me. And that could be really good or it could be really damaging to me personally, so that could be a really painful thing. Even when I was doing theater sometimes, like, and you could like feel the audience was like leaving you and you were like, okay.
How do I get them back?
Yeah, exactly. And kind of going on that drug ride, it was at a certain point, you're like, this is a drug. Maybe it's not that healthy. But I think a lot of that comes from my childhood and at a really young age, having to learn to assess people really quickly in order for like safety and to have a roof over my head, basically. And
does that go back into just the family before you even started acting?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And again, I think that was something I just didn't realize until I started kind of doing the work with you. And I was like, oh, this is because people kept saying it to me. They're like, how are you reading me so well? How are you getting where I am? I was like, I don't.
Because you
doesn't everybody do this? And then it was finally like, oh, this is my survival skill.
Yep.
It's not necessarily a good thing. And I think especially too, actually meeting a few people that your clients that could do that as well. Yep. And going, oh, this comes from a very painful place. This comes from a place of necessity. And I think I'm able to kind of turn it on and off sometimes, but I think that's something I've had to learn to do, or to not take things personally as well.
Yeah. The not taking things personal, that's a tough lesson to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Having the skill set to do what you do, kind of do what I do. Yeah, it does affect us sometimes in a negative way. Sometimes we do want to turn off. Like, I'm the same way when I'm going into some place, like I'm instantly reading what's going on, who's doing what, and I'm just like, can I just go in here and not have to worry about this stuff? It's really hard to turn off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I realized that probably like, as you know, I had COVID for the first time last week. And I was like, God, I'm enjoying this so much. Like, I was just enjoying being home and just like not going out in public, just staying in my own little cocoon. And I was like, right, I need to do this. Because I really am like kind of an extroverted introvert, I think. Mm-hmm. But I forget sometimes. I am easily like just not aware of that I need to turn that kind of whole thing off and kind of go within myself and not have to be out in the world. And
yes.
Yeah.
I'm there with you. I'm a little bit of both as well. Yeah. Like, I love to go out, but I also love to stay in. Yeah. And so, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I need to balance.
Yeah,
I need the balance of it.
To remove yourself from the world sometimes.
Yes. And I think too, probably now I'm kind of realizing, like, I think my immune system was just down enough because I had been traveling so much. I had been with a lot of other people. I had just been visiting my dad, which it's, it's a whole own like emotional stuff that you're kind of regulating. And
Yeah,
so I
you,
think,
you just got back from Europe.
yeah,
You were in...
I was in Spain and then I went to Sweden to see my family. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, traveling wears you down for sure. But, it's really interesting. Sometimes, like when I go back to the East Coast and, I'm with family, sometimes I get sick too. And I'm always questioning, like, is this unresolved emotional shit that I still have to deal with or not know about that's coming up with family? It's loving, it's awesome. But like when I get sick, I'm always like, I'm always questioning why this is happening now.
Well, and I think, I mean, when I'm there and I'm in it, I know that I can't kind of self-soothe. Like, you're in it, I am having to do all of these hoops in my soul and my mind. But then I think once I leave, it's like my body's like, whoa, that was a lot. That was a lot to regulate. And then I think, which I'm sure you've experienced too, then like I was also on a trip with my partner's family as well. And so then it's like learning a whole new family's dynamics and all of their baggage that they come with, So you're kind of like, oh, okay, so we need to regulate this too. And I think that's something at this point now I'm learning as I'm getting older is setting up those boundaries where you can, because you can't always, right? Like, it's like when you're in your family's home or, it's like, how do you navigate this stuff? So
and it does come with good boundary setting. Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like even when I go home sometimes, I have to sometimes set new boundaries.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not dealing with this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the thing too. Again, like I've worked really hard to have a good relationship with my dad. But when I'm in it, I'm going, oh my God, I still have to work so hard. I think there's always this feeling of like, isn't it over? Didn't I do the work? Am I not done yet?
Exactly.
And realizing like, no, it's this daily thing. You got to keep going.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family.
I know. Yeah, there's definitely no magic pill.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So let's hop back into career.
Okay.
You took the 5-year hiatus, kind of came back to LA. Now, did you start doing directing work or did you get back into acting?
Yeah.
What was going on?
In my early 20s, I got very serious about acting. It was like, okay, I'm going to do this career thing. I'm going to really try it and give it a full shot. And I did. So for basically most of my 20s, I was acting and had a really good experience. I feel like I, booked a lot of the stuff. I got to basically be a working actor for like a full year and a half. I think I was able to make it.
Wow.
Pay my bills.
That's something.
Yeah, it really was something. It
not
really was. No.
For a lot of people.
No, and I think people don't even realize just how, even if you're seeing somebody on a TV show, that doesn't mean they're able to pay their bills,
Oh, totally not.
It's such a crazy industry. But that felt really, really good. And I think at the same time, it wasn't meeting all my needs. And I kind of randomly became friends with this wonderful cinematographer who's now like a really big steady cam and camera operator in the industry. But we were both kind of starting out, and with another friend, we just kind of fell into like some documentary stuff.
Okay.
And I kind of loved it. And I just loved all of a sudden being behind the camera and like doing all of this stuff felt so creative. And then because of that, and this was kind of weirdly at kind of the height of like when I was booking just so much acting work and I wasn't working otherwise. So I had this opportunity to kind of have time to step behind the camera and do these other projects that were kind of passion projects. And then we got offered as a team the Special Olympic World Games, which was here. And I had just been working on a project that was about actors with disabilities in Los Angeles, professional actors with disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we kind of like fell into this world, and then it was so exciting. And I think being a field producer for that, it like fulfilled that almost like spy like I'm going out to get this story. I'm figuring things out. I get to like reach out to these people. We were like interviewing Michael Phelps. Like, yeah, it was amazing. It was just like it was so fun. And I think also because you're with the disability community, which is just so authentic and,
Totally.
up front and in your face in a really beautiful, wonderful way. I think it just gave me permission to kind of go, I'm in love with this. I don't know what this is, and I don't know how I would do this, but I'm kind of in love with whatever this feeling is of being creative with real people.
Do you feel like that's kind of what you were looking for in your acting, that was maybe somewhere deep in the recesses that you weren't aware of until you got that opportunity and it actually clicked and experience?
I think I always, like, one of the things how I could always like tap into characters as an actor was I would end up kind of like doing research, and I'd find like a real story about a real person that connected to this character.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was always what kind of made me emotionally be able to like deeply connect and like feel that character. And so then, I think at some point I was like, oh, I just really like these real stories about real people. This is what turns me on and excites me.
And then here you are
stories.
put into the position to actually do that for real behind the camera and direct everything that's going on.
Yeah. And so that was just kind of, a little like I was kind of doing a few kind of gigs at that time through people that I met. So I was working a little bit behind the camera, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I was still like an actor and I was working and
Sure.
and then it changed shape a little bit. I think it was finally I got like a great manager. I had a great team together for acting, and I was just over it. I don't really know what happened, but I just felt it was really the audition process, the whole thing. I was just not. I don't know how to explain it. I think I was just kind of falling out of love with it.
And was that falling out of love with it?
Yeah.
Did that happen after you experienced what you experienced of directing?
Yeah. And I think I never wanted to be a director. Like I never. And then this friend who was the cinematographer, he kind of was like, maybe you should just, I had him say it to me, maybe you just want to try directing. And I was like, oh no. I was like, there's no way. I know how much work that is. Like, I don't want to work that hard. Being an actor, it's easy in comparison in a lot of ways.
Isn't it a weird experience when
Yeah.
you are doing one thing,
Yeah.
thinking that it's scratching all the itches, and then you have this like one-off experience, and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going down this road.
Yeah. It didn't even seem like, I didn't even know there was a door to open.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
just like, okay, that was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And then the next thing you know,
Yeah.
start veering off this way.
Yeah.
I've had that happen so many times in my life. And
Isn't that crazy?
it is. It scares the shit out of me every single time.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh, I'm happy. And then it's like, what is this? I didn't even know this could exist. And then here I am going down that road. And then I'm redirected again. And it's just like, it's terrifying every time it happens. I'm just like, here we go again.
Yeah. And that was kind of what presented itself finally in 2019. It was such a crazy year because I was still working as an actress. I was even invited to go up to Oregon and do this play, which was really wonderful. And then I kind of on a whim knew this amazing organization, Creative Visions, and they started this thing that was for like up and emerging female directors. If they wanted to try out, you know, you had to send in your resume and all the stuff to see if you would qualify. And they chose, I think, 10 people out of however many applied. And you would be given a grant and you would direct a mini documentary, basically for social change that was for a nonprofit that was located in Los Angeles. And and you would kind of tell the nonprofit story. And basically with that documentary, they would pitch it for more funding for the organization.
Okay. And that documentary was called I Am American,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got it. And it was like so unexpected. It was the same thing. It was that same thing of like, oh my gosh, just beating on doors for so many years with acting. And then it was literally like, yeah, here, we're going to give you money, make a movie. Like it was just the weirdest thing. Assemble your team, choose whoever you'd like. And I was like, what? And of course, like I had all the people in place. Like, you know, one of my best friends is a mega editor in New York. And I was like so lucky I got to pay her and she got to edit the film and I was like so grateful that she was down to do it and had an amazing producer come on board and 2 amazing producers. Very lucky, an amazing composer who's now very successful and all the things. So that was really lucky. And then that organization was given a $15,000 grant because of the documentary. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And it just fell into my lap. It was so
Do
weird.
you think this was luck? Truly?
Do I think it was luck?
Yeah. Do you really think it was luck?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I had that like acting teacher that would always say like luck is preparedness meeting opportunity, you know? But I think it's important sometimes to go with what is easy. Like like sometimes being open to things and then saying yes to those things when they present themselves.
Yeah.
Because I feel like so often with everything, at least in my life, like I've, beaten the dead horse in a like bad relationship, right? Of just being like, why won't this work? Or, or the same thing with the career or the same thing with not trusting myself with school, things like that. And then finally when you're like, okay, this is what I want. And then life is like, here you go.
Yeah.
Sure, we can make it easy for you.
It's crazy how that works.
It's crazy.
And, I've been experiencing a lot of that.
Yeah, I know. So it's so hard when you're in it, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
It's so hard.
It's so hard because you do feel like you're beating your head against the wall for a really long time. And you're like, why?
Yeah. Once it like breaks and you're...
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're there.
Why? What in the world was I doing?
I know.
Yeah.
But I think we all have to go through that stage of beating your head against the wall. And I think that's the hardest part because you just don't, you're kind of like, what the hell do you want me to do, life? Yeah. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah, I've been asking and I know what I want. Yeah. And it's like, and what's even worse is when you understand that whole process and you know where you are.
We talked about this, I think, before. We talked about this.
Oh my God.
But it's so shocking, I think, in anything. Like, it's so shocking. Like, I just had a friendship kind of end, and it was that same thing of like knowing we kind of came to a place where this might not work anymore.
Yep.
And then at the same time, you're just like, I'm beating my head against the wall trying to make this thing work. And then going like, oh my God, it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
And you just have to like...
be okay with it.
Be okay. And I feel like that with so many relationships too. It's like you always, when you move into a new chapter of your life is just like, we're making space, people. We're making space.
Death.
And you're like, no, I want to cling to all the old ththings, like the relationships, the way I see the world, all of that stuff.
Yeah, because it's comfortable.
I don't even know if it's comfortable. Is that the right? But it makes you feel like weirdly safe.
Yeah.
Even though you're not safe in it.
Totally.
It's not good for you.
Yep.
But what does the alternative look like? I don't know. And so that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. The I don't know versus, all right, I know where the demons are here.
Yeah.
And going into the unknown is terrifying.
Yeah.
But if we're willing to continually do it over and over and over, we'll live a rich life for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I will say, just like segueing back to career stuff. So now I'm in the process of finishing like my first feature documentary. And
Currently.
yeah. So it's in like the final stages of post-production, which means like the final editing is being done, the final music, all of that stuff. And then we submit to film festivals or are currently doing that. And then we see what happens. But
So like Sundance?
no, not like Sundance.
Okay.
I wish.
Okay.
One day. There's baby steps. That's the other part when you start to realize the inner workings of how this industry works.
Yeah.
Things like Sundance, it's I have to have a different resume for that, which I hope I will one day. But that doesn't mean we can't shoot for it. I just think it's very unlikely. But no, probably smaller festivals that are still good film festivals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. But I will say, looking back on it, I'm kind of like, how did I do this? Like, I'm like, that's like, it's in like where I am now. I'm like, what? I would never do that. We went and filmed in like 8 different states. We just got on planes and went and met people and met them where they were at before there was like a COVID vaccine, and meeting them in parks and interviewing all these wild, amazing people. And I'm like, what? How did I do that?
It's like trying to like film underground.
Kind of, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, we went to a Trump rally in like September 2020, filmed that.
And this is
2020. So this is like
okay
in the middle of COVID. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this documentary was called, is this the Does My
Vote Count?
Does My Vote?
So we really follow like voting activists and some politicians and it's trying its best to be nonpartisan, because it's really about like the people and not the politics, hopefully.
Yeah.
But really focusing on things like the disability vote and what does that actually look like? Like, what did that look like in the middle of a pandemic for somebody that's deaf or blind or has Down syndrome to go vote? And they do vote, right? So kind of seeing those things, or, what does it look like if you are previously incarcerated, and how does that work? Or if you're in jail in some states and you haven't been convicted, you still have the right to vote. So how all these things work.
Yeah, those are interesting questions that I never thought about.
I know, right?
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But it really affects all of us, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's surprisingly important.
I like that it was, or at least tries to be, nonpartisan, because that's what America is ultimately.
I know.
As much as
they're trying to make us seem like we're not.
Yeah, we are at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I talked about that some video I did recently. Yes. Yeah.
Well, right. And you're from, in many ways, like right there, the capital of our country.
Yep.
You know a lot too.
I do. I've been in and around that stuff for so long.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of, for me, I'm less and less interested in talking about the partisan wedge and how far removed from we are from each other, or arguing about my beliefs versus yours. Like, I don't think that really gets us anywhere.
No.
And I really 100% from doing this film, like I get emotional thinking about it, because I really did meet incredible people on both really extreme sides of each other, and really, really good people.
It makes you think.
Okay, we're all kind of after something similar here. How do we get to this before we just destroy each other?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. As extreme as some people can be, there is a lot of similarity of wants and desires here in America. And so interesting. I can't wait to see that.
I know. Thank you. I hope it's in those final stages of just, again, like having faith in yourself to see something through till the end, which is,
especially when it gets hard.
Yeah, it's so hard. And I do feel like the only reason that this thing is still happening and gonna see the finish line is because I have a team behind me, and because I have these amazing people that committed to these interviews and these incredible stories, that I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for you. This was just me and my ego, I would have
I would have been shattered a long time ago and in like a hole hiding, which I'm doing some days. But it's like that kind of like puts the little, what is it, like the Tommy the choo choo train? Like I think I can. I
think I can. Yeah.
To like push forward.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. When you know that you have a team behind you, when you surrender to letting other people help you, you can just go so much further.
Oh my God.
I was talking the other day about how we can't actualize our best selves to our full potential without people helping us.
Yeah.
And so delegating, having a team willing to help, there's so many people behind like that one star that we see.
And it's such a myth, I feel like, that somehow we've built that up in business, in the entertainment industry for sure. Yeah. This idea that it's like this one-man band that's doing everything. Yeah. You know, there's always the star. And I think, to me, from what I've seen, I'm like, oh, that's just not how it works. And I think when you end up having to do it, that's when a lot of things do start to fall apart because you can't. You need that support.
Totally.
And I think that's one of the things I've loved learning about directing and why I still really want to do this with my life is because you kind of really, your job is just to make other people shine in all these different creative ways. Your job is just to like say yes to a lot of people's big ideas. And that's like really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really fun.
And you don't know where it's going to go.
No, and you have to be open to that, like improvisation and letting it go. I just, my final school project I did was a music video, and like seeing it now, like we're also in the stages of editing and finishing it. And it's like nothing what I had planned or envisioned, you know, but it's also because it's not really just my vision. It's like all these other artists that are like coming in and
collaborating,
tweaking things and making changes and making it hopefully better. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's definitely a point of surrender in the creative process.
Yeah. I think in life too, right? It's like, I think that's in order to be creative in life, in the world, do all these things, you have to really surrender and kind of like be in control and like surrender complete control. It's like such a trippy.
Yeah, the paradox of life, right?
Yeah.
Everything. It's all a paradox constantly. Yeah. And I've been there many times and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you have. I know. And you're in like a new exciting chapter.
Right here. Yeah. Part of what I'm doing with this show is I'm doing, bi-monthly releases, but in between I'm talking about all the mistakes I make, the business, the things that I want to do, why things aren't perfect here.
I love that.
And so that people can understand it's okay to not start at the top.
I love that. I've always wanted to do a film. I've met a few of these people here in Los Angeles, but like a film, and I won't call it this, but call it like Losers. But it's like about all the people that like just get here, I met a guy who was, this close to being on the Broncos, and like the very last stage he got cut, and now he doesn't play professional football. But it's like these people that still put in all the work and then don't have that success high that I think we've all been kind of sold on.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that you can't be extremely successful in some other aspect. And I think
totally.
The failure part freaks us out so much. Like,
that's totally
so frustrating.
100%. Yeah, I don't know where this is going to go, but
right.
But I'm putting all the effort into making it go somewhere, and hopefully people like it. But if they don't, whatever, I'll move on to something else.
Right.
And that's part of the creative process.
Yeah.
Part of business too.
And you never know like who you're going to meet through here and how this will shape the next chapter, right? Like that this could lead to something amazing, whether it's this or something totally different, right? But because of this, because of you staying open and just putting yourself out there, now you've created that pathway.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's very hard when you're in it, I think.
Totally. So hard.
It's so hard.
It is the most difficult part of success, I think.
Yeah.
Is to be in it.
Yeah. I feel like that for me, I never got my bachelor's degree. I never ended up going to college. So that was something like during the pandemic, I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. That's like a deep, dark secret that I feel very ashamed about too, that I never got to finish school.
And
so
we put so much emphasis on school.
wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's crazy. And even like in my early 20s, it was always, oh, so where'd you go to school? Oh, and I think also there is a really big stigma too, because I don't think people realize the financial aspect of what goes into school for college, right? Like a lot of people, your parents are paying for it, so you don't understand, a lot of us that come from the poorer side of town, what that means to actually go to college, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, for me to decide to do it in my mid-30s was like, okay. But vindicating in a way I never could have kind of realized how much it built like my self-esteem, like from like the real roots of like I have this solid sense of self now, because it was kind of this journey of like really manifesting the life I want.
Yeah.
Not just like, this is it, I want to be a director, whatever it is, like this will happen. But of being like, okay, what does that mean to like basically go into the gym every day and like build those muscles and prove to myself I can do this, I can get straight A's, I can,
Huge commitment.
the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commitment, consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that bothered you that much.
Oh,
and
God, yeah, it was such a sore.
I know people, amazing people that have not gone to college.
Right.
And that is one thing that bothers them. And I'm like,
I think, yeah.
bro, like, look at what you're doing. Who
Right,
cares
right.
about college?
Yeah.
But, you're another example. You've done all this amazing stuff. But I understand, like, let's bring in the academic background to further where you're going to go into the future. I get that.
Yeah, I think
get
so.
that.
And I think there is something about now, I think from the other side of it, looking at it and going, I think education like frees you in a way, because it just builds your core that like no one else can kind of touch.
Yeah.
In a really interesting way. It's like really you're proving yourself to yourself over and over and over again. And I think doing that like builds so much self-esteem and stamina.
Yep.
And yeah.
And the creative process too, defending your work.
Oh yeah.
That builds so much internal strength.
Totally, and vulnerability for sure of having to share.
Yeah.
Or I think especially in a classroom setting, being able to do things that you probably would never do in the real world, but here you are in a classroom setting, so you can like push yourself. Like we were talking about your photography earlier, right? Like,
well, one thing that I always struggled with in college, it was never like I was never felt vulnerable about putting my work out. I always got like really agitated defending my work.
interesting. Why do you think? Where do you think like the?
I don't know, but like I got into it with professors left and right. I was hauled into the dean's office. Like,
Would you get into it with your parents?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of who you are.
I think so.
Yeah, you have a sense of justice and knowing what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But
That conviction.
did that hurt your sense of self at all to be like hauled into the dean's office and
Oh no, it kind of just amped me up even more.
Exactly. So it is still that same argument of like college is able to kind of like build you up in this way, even if you're going against the grain.
Absolutely.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like as soon as you had said that, that triggered that memory in me. And it's like, I was always proud to put my work. Yeah. But I would get really irritated when I had to defend it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I know I like want to deep dive into that, but I don't even know where we can go with it.
Well, this is about
So
you.
curious.
This is about you.
I know.
So you're going to UCLA
Yeah.
to study directing.
Yeah. To basically film production and finish my bachelor's there. Yeah, but with an emphasis on directing and documentary.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And how long is that going to take?
If I'm really focused, 1.5 years. So I'm basically going in as like a junior.
Okay.
And then it will kind of depend on how much life gets in the way. Totally. But that was part of choosing UCLA when I had this moment where I could basically choose to move to New York and go to NYU and kind of do this dream school scenario.
So let's talk about the 3 schools you were accepted.
Yes.
Is UCLA.
Yeah, NYU. And USC.
USA.
Yeah. So
Like the top schools for what you're looking to do.
So it was, I think also growing up, I had such a chip on my shoulder, and then moving here because I knew people from all of these schools, and I would kind of see their career go like this, you know, or not go like this. But I'm saying like going up in the air for those that are listening to the podcast. But at a certain point, knowing that education matters, even in the entertainment industry. And a lot of people will tell you it doesn't. But then for me, being in this career long enough, I'm like, no, I know the people from NYU. I know what they're doing now, you know?
It matters.
It matters. And I think also it just builds your solid community in a way that you can't have otherwise. And it, like we talked about, then it's not a one-man band that you're doing. Then you have this incredible team behind you of people that you trust. And like you've said, you know, people that have been collaborating with you in this kind of safe school setting.
Yep.
So, yeah. But yeah, to get into NYU was like such a big dream and kind of something I did on a whim. Like, I'm not going to get in, but I'm just going to do it because I'm at this point now. But I hope, you know, there's always grad school. So we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, it was a really big decision to not kind of throw my whole life up in the air and just move across the country. But UCLA basically made me an offer that was really hard to refuse. And so they made it that easy. And I think like we are talking about, it's kind of like when those doors open so easily, I was like, yeah, this is the right door to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you're going to produce in the future here. And I want to get into, there's a couple things I want to get into. I wanted to talk about you mending this relationship with your father.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to talk to you about what you see men struggling with these days.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, those are both, well, I can tell you what I think my father's struggling with. No.
So tell us about your father. What was going on and why was there that division?
I mean, it was one of those gray relationships. It was like, listen, I have a dad that loves me, but he took off when I was 3 years old and moved back to his home country. And, you know, then I got to see him every year. If I was lucky, he would pay for me to have a flight to come and see him in Sweden. And that was like my relationship with him. So it was really bizarre and really challenging because I didn't, you know, I think this year coming back from visiting him, I kind of had the realization, I was like, whoa, I don't think I've ever spent a birthday with my dad. You know, like, that's not normal. You know,
like your birthday? Or
I've never spent my birthday. I actually have spent some of his birthdays with him. But yeah, like my dad, you know, I don't think he's ever been there for my birthday because I was always in school. And it wasn't that he didn't want that. But it's like, yeah, I've never celebrated a Christmas with my dad. You know, all these kind of major, he wasn't there when I graduated high school. You know, all these major kind of things that I think to make you, especially as a girl, feel safe and solid and loved, that was not present for me. And
I want to stop you. You just said something really important, I think. For women and for men. Yeah. You said that you didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And and I want you to confirm this if you can. Yeah. For women walking around the world that they don't have that strong father figure or a strong man in their life, how scary is it for a woman to be roaming around without that?
Yeah, I can't even articulate how, but even like, for example, even as a little kid, and it didn't mean that something bad happened to me, but there was always a sense that something could. Because I was actually physically assaulted by a teacher when I was like about 6, but that was like an experience, right? Like I was, you know, it was scary and it only happened once, thank God. But there was no dad around to come in and be like, what the fuck just happened here?
Yeah.
There's only mom, who was a single mom, who kind of was like, kind of got blamed in this way of like, well, if Emily's acting out in class, that must be a sign something's wrong at home. And now looking at that as an adult, in a very different kind of like society, I think today, that guy was run to jail, but
Totally.
yeah, but it was a different time. But it was that kind of sense of like, I'm exposed as a woman. And I think if you have that sense, I think for both men and women growing up, or boys and girls, I think when you don't have that kind of container, that safety container around you, I think it makes the world feel you're not on solid ground. You're just not on solid ground. You can't trust a lot of the things that are going on because there's not somebody at home to kind of, I think
Protect you, console you, contain you.
Yeah. And so I definitely think with anybody who's raising a child on their own, you really do need somehow those kind of figures in that kid's life to basically take that space. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said what you said about feeling exposed.
Yeah.
No, you're very good friends with my wife, Anna.
Yeah.
And she does not like when I'm not around because
she talks about it. I know.
Yeah, she hates it.
Yeah.
Because she feels.
I'm the same though.
Yeah.
I'm the same. And we've talked about like, we'll sleep with the lights on because, my partner used to travel for work too. And it was even like the kind of come down of when he would come home of like my nervous system having to like recalibrate. But I think, and I mean, I tell that to my partner all the time. I'm like, get it. Us women walk around literally like on edge most of the day and night. Like your parking garage, for instance. Like that's something I would never want to be in by myself at night. And maybe that's just because I've watched like too many CSIs or whatever. But it's that kind of, I think, feeling as a woman that you just always have to be slightly on guard, and it sucks. And you don't want to treat men like that either. I think that's the other part. Like, I don't want to look at a man like if I'm in an elevator alone by myself and feel like, oh God, who are you? Do I need to be frightened? But it's kind of something women, I think, have to live with all the time.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but like you said something that I think is just really important for women to understand and confirm with other women and men to hear like how important their role is to women.
Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah. And I think, like at least with my dad, and certainly in a lot of relationships I think I've been in, it's so easy for men to shut down and not be able to voice what they're really feeling, not express what's going on with them. And I think for a woman, it's so isolating because, again, we're women, so we take everything personally, which hopefully we're working on. But, that sense of not knowing what's happening as a woman, again, it's like such a biological kind of freak out because as a woman, you really need to be able to understand what's happening because it means safety and protection.
Yes.
And you having a roof over your head or not, right? Like, I think it just goes back so much historically. And again, I think women in general, we've had a lot less time in history to read and write and have an education and have a life outside of the home. So I think part of that is learning that we're okay on our own. But I think there's still those like biological things that kick in.
Totally.
Which is like, goes back to your wife of like, the man's not in the house. Oh my God. Like, a predator could come at any moment. What am I going to do then? There's no one to defend the castle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she says.
Yeah. And it's like so in your nervous system and your bones, and you don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's not logical at all, but you like can't switch it off, which is very frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine it. And I truly can only imagine because I don't live that way. Right. But I do see the effects.
Yeah.
And, God forbid anybody does do anything. My wife, I feel bad for them.
Right. Well, right. And there's that knowing that too, but it's like, it's hard to connect those.
Yeah.
And then also I think to be the man where you like do have that sense of the need for adventure, you know, and that's really something that's within your bones. Like you have to go out and hunt and gather and do those exciting things that a man needs to do, you know, or the masculine needs to do. There's like the feminine masculine, I think, that comes into play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So what kind of work and how long did it take to rekindle everything with your father?
It really was, I think around the time I started to work with you, I think I was 28, 29. And I was also kind of, I had started this Buddhist practice as well, which I think was where I chant in the mornings and I chant at night. And I think between those two, there was a lot of seeing stuff come up and kind of taking responsibility for my life, which is a lot of like what the Buddhist practice entails.
Okay. Were these like visualizations or?
No, it's called Nichiren Buddhism, and it's like a Japanese form of Buddhism.
Okay.
If you've ever seen the Tina Turner movie, that's what she practiced. But it's basically, it's Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, and you're basically just like chanting. So it's kind of like it's your eyes are open the whole time you're doing this, and it's basically just saying, you know, I devote myself to the law of cause and effect, basically. So understanding that like there's a cause and there's an effect, and you have great responsibility in that, and you get to choose kind of, and this idea that you can change your karma, you know, on a spiritual but also kind of like a logical level, like. You can change your circumstances if you want to. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And I think between that and then working with you and meeting so many men that were just deeply struggling.
We've dealt with a lot of them, haven't we?
Yeah. But it was actually so the opposite of disheartening. You know, it was like
definitely was not.
It's
awesome.
It was so beautiful to like see these changes and growth. And I think it gave me permission in a way to mourn my experience with my dad, and also to have a deeper understanding of what he was going through, who he is, and have a lot of like forgiveness. And it just like raised my level of respect for men. Just huge. It was just a huge like, whoa, I have so much respect now for men and what they're going through and their, you know, trials and tribulations that we're all kind of dealing with. And seeing how locked in that gets, you know, and that like what men are carrying around with them in this way that, yeah, I think women, we kind of don't let them off the hook for, in a way, right?
True.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't.
Right.
But
doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not happening. And there does need to be a time and place for them to process what's going on, because as you've seen, it's heavy duty.
Yeah. And I think, which I've shared with so many of the guys I've worked with through you, I think it's really important work that you do and are continuing to do, because, you know, as women, we have a responsibility, because these are the men that are either going to keep us safe or they're going to hurt us.
Yeah.
And that's like really what you see is the potential, you know, and you see how young it starts, and you see all of these hurt little kids that don't have intentions to hurt other people, but how easily you can, you know, when you're hurt and angry and afraid.
Yep. Totally. It's not like a conscious thing that they're registering.
No, not at all. And then to be able to like wake that up and for it to become conscious is pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that basically made, I think, my decision I was ultimately the one that reached out to my dad.
Oh, nice.
And said, okay, I want to solve this now. And I think it was kind of the realization that if I wanted to have a good partnership, like if I wanted to meet the guy of my dreams and have a family of my own and do all those things, that was not going to be very possible if I didn't solve this equation with my dad first.
Totally.
And that was really like a frustrating thing to realize, but it was like something that seemed so impassable if I didn't deal with this. It was like a big elephant in my closet that I would bring into every relationship. And I probably still do. But, at least my partner is aware that I'm working on it. And I met my partner, I think, like maybe not even like 6 months after I left and went to Sweden for the first time and mended that relationship with my dad. So it was like pretty quick. It was like, okay, now you're ready,
Yeah.
Here he is. Yeah.
And how did your dad take that? What was his reaction to everything?
My God, my poor dad. Oh my gosh. I think when I'm farther removed, I have more compassion for him. And when I'm closer to it, I'm like, why is our relationship like this? But he was thrilled to hear from me. He was so overjoyed, and we never talked about it since. We never talked about what happened. My family has never talked about it with me. It's never been brought up, which I think is so weird.
That's totally weird.
But he can't handle it, And then I think for me, it's something that I'm not ready to take the full weight of responsibility for either, to be the one to have to say, hey, by the way, this thing happened, remember?
Yeah.
But I think in the way that he can since that time, he's really shown up, like awesome. as a dad, as a caretaker.
Awesome.
He was one of my like biggest champions and going back to school and doing that. And so I think I had to take what he could give me and accept that, which is some days easier than others.
And
yes.
And as he continues to grow,
totally, yeah,
he will be there more and in a greater depth, I think.
Yeah.
But having that conversation, that hard one, and when you're ready,
I know.
Yeah, I think that would really set you free and
I think so too.
And allow you to really see your dad for who he really is.
I know. I would think I was like on the brink this year, and then it was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Which I think is crazy, because you realize, especially doing this work with your clients, like it's so easy when it's somebody else. And then when it's yourself, you go like, oh yeah, that is way harder than it looks from the outside.
It is.
It is more complicated. And
it is.
I think that's part of, maybe it's also because I'm not ready to let go of the past, and that's part of it. Mm-hmm. And I still have to keep telling that story for whatever reason until I'm ready to let go of it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
still, more work. Yeah, it's very interesting dealing with family. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I take my skill set into my family.
Yeah.
And, mom and dad, sometimes they're on board, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing, but it has helped me, navigate and answer questions for myself about things, which is really nice. And build that better relationship with my parents. Yeah. Just like you're doing with your father.
Actually, I am realizing now that you say that, I did have a conversation with him the first year. I was coming to a workshop here.
Okay.
Or I was like in the middle of one here at your place. So I must have been like in a good kind of clean space. But yeah, it was the first year I was dating my now fiance. And that was a really good time, I think, with my dad, where I was able to share a lot more with him. I think sometimes as time goes by, you kind of just go back into like old patterns and like old ruts a little bit. You're like letting things go. But I was able to like share with him, like I want to have a really good relationship with this person, and I want to have a family, and I'm excited about this. But I also feel like from the childhood I had, because of everything we dealt with, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And so he was able to take that in and really share with me.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But, we basically had a long distance relationship for most of my life. So I think dealing with anybody in that capacity can be really challenging.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, I'm glad you saw him recently
I know.
and had your birthday with him.
No, it wasn't my birthday.
Oh, it wasn't?
Still. That's why. I was still like, I don't think I've ever celebrated a birthday with this guy. That's weird.
Yeah. You should make that a goal.
I know. I think there's still the bitterness in me that I'm working through, which is why do I have to always be the one to do the work? But again, that's what we get handed as children, and then I'm sure we'll do the same thing as parents.
Yep.
Our kids will ask the same questions, you know? Or, you know, it's like, yeah, why do I have to continue to do this work?
It's our responsibility.
Yeah, I guess. The next generation, maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's my work to do.
I'm happy that you were able to do that because that's not an easy thing for a daughter to do.
Yeah.
It's easier to just hold that resentment and hate. That's props to you for doing that because that's not easy stuff.
Well, I think I still struggle with the resentment and hate. I don't know if it ever goes away, but you know, I mean, really, I think a lot of the work that I got to do with you was like seeing these men go through that stuff. It was like, oh shit, this is not worth me holding on to not have a good life.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do I punch through these really uncomfortable feelings in order to get to the other side? So I think I'm still going through that, and I think it's still the process.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, you go through phases.
Yeah.
And you've done the hard work.
Yeah.
You made.
Thank you.
You went and
Yeah, I'm a different person because
confronted
of
your
it,
father.
for sure.
Yeah.
Totally a
That's
different person.
the hardest part.
I think the frustrating part is realizing that even when you're a different person and you've done all of that hard work, there's still more work to do.
Always.
So it's just kind of like you get tired. You're like, oh, I just don't want to do any more today.
Yeah. It's just like life to be easy, please. And it's just, it's not
But
a lot of the times.
I think too, realizing that especially with that side of my family, I mean, have you been to Sweden before?
I have.
Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like these are people that don't smile at you. You know what I mean? These are not outgoing.
I have a
They're
couple.
really wonderful people.
Yeah. I have a couple Swedish clients right
Right.
now. Yeah.
And they're so reserved. Like it's such a reserved culture. So there's so much family history that goes into this way of being, you know, and realizing that it's just like generations of like having to kind of break this way of being, which is challenging. So I'm definitely still working on it.
Very challenging, but you're moving in the right direction, so that's awesome.
Thank you, Dade. Thank you. Yeah.
So let's talk about men in general.
Yes. Yes.
You probably have a perspective on men that most women do not.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
I would think. You've seen a lot here with the work that we do.
Yeah. It's almost 10 years, 9 years. I don't know, a long time though. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you really see the struggle. You've seen the struggles that men have, what they harbor inside of them, and how difficult it is for them to let any of that go and really see who they are at the core. And when we look at what's going on in the world today with men, what do you see?
I see as a whole struggling a lot, right? Because I think women have gone through this cycle where they've had to break out and they've had to kind of swing the pendulum to a really, you know, a totally different area where they basically want this really masculine way of life, which is really, really hard for men. And obviously now we see that kind of swinging back really hard, and we have the kind of, you know, the men coming out really against that kind of cultural shift that happened. But I think more it's that breakdown of like the masculine and feminine, and we're all just trying to rework and recalibrate, like, where do we stand? And I think that men, like women, want both. I think that most of us actually want like somewhere in the middle of being able to like express our feminine and masculine. And I think that men are at a very strange place because they're kind of being told they're not allowed to express either. It feels like, right? To me, like, you know, now
okay, you're kind of allowed to be vulnerable and express that if you want. And even like, you know, this next generation is painting their fingernails and stuff like that. Things are changing in a really interesting way, but it's like, again, it's swinging that pendulum all the way to the other side where now you're really like not allowed to be masculine. But I see that mostly I think we're all just like physically stuck in front of a screen that's showing us all of these images that aren't really real, you know, of what the world looks like, whatever that is, whether it's the news that you're watching that's making you feel really, really angry or upset one way or the other, or whether that's some beautiful body where you're like, I could never attain this, or it's some person celebrating their marriage or their baby or their success in their career. And, you know, you're just like, I can never live up to any of this shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's really depressing. I think most of us probably want to like retreat to a mountaintop somewhere and just like hide, you know?
Yeah.
Or hate that.
A lot of people definitely. And I mean, I'm sure as a woman, you know, you see the stuff that women are doing out there and making even more insecurities happen. The same's happening for men.
I know.
And
I mean, it's even just like going through my partner's phone, like his thirst traps on Instagram, you know, it's like, I don't get these hot naked men, you know, on my feed, but he gets all of them because he needs to feel bad about himself. You know, like it's just like this weird manipulative thing that now this computer is doing to us essentially, right? This algorithm.
Totally.
But I think it just, I think at the end of the day, like what I see with men is that so many of us are not allowed to deal with those childhood issues of whatever that was in whatever way we had to learn to cope with the world. And now we're adults trying to cope with the world that's kind of gone insane. And we're trying to figure our place in it. And of course, we're still in that, like we can't get over that like biological need to fit in, to be part of this society and tribe.
Part of the tribe, yeah.
And I think that's really confusing in our day and age where it's like you have no idea what that means, but you're getting just bombarded with images all the time of what it supposedly means, and you can never live up to any of those images. Whether it's success in business that's not really real, that we know for the most part, right? Like even that is like, then that's not actually going to make you happy, you know, and fulfilled most likely. It's like, where do you get to be fulfilled and happy as a man?
Yeah, you really have to be your own advocate. You really have to define yourself first and foremost. Take care of yourself. So then you can take care of everybody else that's involved in your life. But it really comes down to defining who are you as a man? What are you about? What are you not about?
Yeah.
You know? What are you willing to work toward and not willing to work toward? And just having this really solid idea of self outside of all the shit that we see on social media and media in general. It's like, okay, that none of that stuff's technically real. It's like you here now are real. And so what does this man do?
And like what actually fulfills you? Like what actually turns you on and makes you feel good in the world? And I think that's the part seeing with men when that finally clicks in and it's like, oh, I can compliment that woman on the street just because I think she's beautiful and she'll actually take it and be okay and she's not going to run away in total terror from me. And it's like, no, because that makes you feel good. Because it actually makes you feel alive. And like you're saying, you have the capacity to kind of expand that to other people as opposed to feeling like, you know, a pervert that's not even allowed to be in the world. And then you saying like, oh my God, you're so hot to some strange woman. And she's like, you pervert, you know, because that's how you're internally feeling. That's your barometer.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the same thing that happens in business as well. That happens in the guy world, you know, where we're always establishing that hierarchy and your position is always moving.
Right.
You know, amongst guys. And so, you know, if a guy shows up into a new guy group and he's not solid in who he is,
Oh yeah.
we're going to eat you up and spit you
A
out.
wolf pack.
Yeah.
Pack, yeah.
Totally.
But it's interesting too, because I think with business and success, there is this thing that's so fascinating where I think in anything, I think in creating the life you want, a lot can propel you with anger. Like it's this weird thing, like you can propel yourself a very long distance. You can get in the relationship you want. You can get the friends you want. You know, you can get the success you want with anger.
Totally.
And it'll get you to that place, but I think it usually falls apart because you get there and you're still really fucking angry. And so now you're angry at your partner, you're angry at your business, you're angry at, you know, all this stuff.
That, and it's just extremely taxing and exhausting for the nervous system.
Right.
To live in that energy of anger. But it is definitely powerful, used the right way.
And I think men have been kind of sold that pill for a really long time.
Totally.
That like, hey, this works. This is what you need. You need the hot wife. You need the perfect business. You need all this shit.
Yep.
And so then it's like you're going after women you're not even really attracted to, but you're like, that's who everybody else says is the right woman to go for. Yeah. I'm going to get her because I'm so pissed off at everybody else that thinks I can't do this. And I'm going to make it to the top of this company and I'm going to do this. And then, yes, it's not what you actually want.
Yeah. You give up everything of who you really are for something that you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I posted a short the other day about this girl talking about men, her wanting men to be vulnerable.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
Let me roll your eyes.
Oh my God. The comments, you know, you talk about anger and hate.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just like,
Really?
all dudes,
All
just
dudes,
super pissed. And,
Fuck you.
you know, I did a follow-up. Like if they watch the whole video, I explain, I'm like, hey, look, you know, it's not always easy for us to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And, but then they just, the first section is this girl talking, they just tore her apart.
Really?
So much anger. Yeah.
But I think what's also a reminder is that I think men see it as women being vulnerable a lot of the time when it's women being drama, which both men and women can do.
Totally.
And again, like these are skills that you have to learn at a really young age to get what you want. So women, you know, usually women learn to cry and scream and do tantrums because that gets you what you want. And men learn to do what, you know,
Men do.
Which is either do a tantrum or shut down completely, I think.
And it's interesting that you said that because women mature faster than men.
Yeah.
And so they're learning these skill sets faster than men.
So
Men, I think, on a subconscious level, see that skill set, don't recognize what it is because we're so young. Yeah. And they're like, oh, this girl can do this and get away with all of that. Yeah. But as we get older, we are very good at learning our own ways of manipulating too.
Yeah.
As men.
Yeah. And I think like through doing the work with you were somebody that was great at calling it when I couldn't even see it. You'd be like, no, that's drama. And like somebody would be like bawling, you know, this guy would just be like bawling, crying. And I remember I'd be like, well, I don't really feel anything. And then I'd feel really guilty that I wasn't like feeling his vulnerability, you know. And then you'd come and be like, that's just drama. He's putting on a show. And I'd be like, oh, that's what that is. That's why I don't feel it. Yeah. And I know every time I do that with my partner, it's like the opposite effect, right? I'm like crying, like, why can't you just understand me or whatever? Why can't you wash the dishes? I don't know, something I'm whining about. And he's like, trauma, you know, he wants nothing to do with me in that state, as opposed to when I'm really being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think that's where men get so angry because they kind of see that. And I think they kind of misplace that. It's like, fuck, you want me to be a whiny little bitch? Like, do you know what I have to deal with in the world?
Yeah.
And we do know. Yes. But it's only hurting you, right, to not be able to find that vulnerability. It's really only hurting them.
Yep.
And I think to be vulnerable doesn't mean that you're shedding your armor at all. I think that's like you get to keep that. You actually build better armor.
Totally.
When you are vulnerable. I think it's just that we mistake because our bodies had to do its best for us, right? In all of these like terrible life situations that have made us feel ashamed or scared or angry and all that, we've had to be shut down. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, we don't like to take our armor off.
Yeah.
It's really hard for us.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it is. It's an interesting thing. Guys associate, I think they misassociate like a woman's drama, misassociate that like as being vulnerable.
Totally.
And then they try in a sense to do that, and it comes across needy and weird. And then,
Yeah.
but to them, they think that that's
Yep.
right. And then the woman attacks them.
Totally.
And now the fight begins.
What? Yeah. I'm trying here. I'm trying so hard.
Yeah. And for us to admit anything, it was like ripping our heart out.
Totally.
It's-
Well, and I think it's okay to go, like, I think nothing's wrong either. Like, sometimes you have to throw a temper tantrum. You have to go through those moments. And I think, like, with the clients of yours we've worked with, it's like a lot of them have to go through that drama to realize it's just a game.
Yeah.
To realize, like, this is a game you had to play in order to get mom's attention. And this was the only way you were allowed to get mom's attention.
Yeah.
Is to like do this game. And so no, you're not actually even sad. You know, I think one of my favorite clients I worked with, I remember he like kept crying. And finally I remember I was like, I started laughing at him. And he was like, "You laughing at me?" And I was like, "God, you're laughing at me?" And I was like, "I don't think you're actually sad."
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he like started like crying, laughing. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm not." Like, you know, he had just like gone through a breakup and a big relationship, and he was actually like giddy. He was just totally like, his whole nervous system was just finally releasing. And he was actually so happy to be out of this relationship, to be on his own. But for him, he was like, no, I'm supposed to be experiencing this emotion right now.
Because somewhere somebody told me this is the way I act.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we, you know, we debunk a lot of that acting stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the stories
Yeah.
that they think they're supposed to live out.
Yeah. And I get it. I have my own stories. It's really hard to break those.
We all do. We all do.
But I think when you break them, you get to freedom and you get what you really want. And then I think we do see these incredibly powerful people in the world that have done that and live really beautiful lives because of it. And again, that's not out of anger, and they're not sitting at home getting a lot of health issues, even though they have a private jet or something like that. It's a beautiful wife that they don't even really want to be with. You know, it's like that other group of people that has it figured out, that like you have to keep ripping it open in order to move forward.
Always picking the scab.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, you have to be able to make it heal too. So there's that. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
well, this has been awesome.
I'm so glad. I know. I love this. This went fast.
I know.
Yeah.
We're like 2 hours.
I know. Well, yeah, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot.
I'm really happy that you were open to do this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking.
You were actually the first woman on the show.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yay. I get to be a trailblazer.
Yes. There's 2 other women that I'm working with this week as well. So
Amazing.
yeah, I really want to have all kinds of interesting people on here.
I love it. I love it. Well, I will
Thanks for
say
coming out.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks for entertaining the idea
Yeah.
and being here.
Well, I love what you do. I love what you've done, and I'm excited for this next chapter because I think you have, from what I have seen, helped so many men already. And because of that, probably so many women too, you know? And it is
a lot of women here working. Yeah.
Yeah. But even just those relationships because of these men, you know, it's like such a ripple effect. But I think whatever this next phase is going to be really exciting.
I think so too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you. So fun.
Wow.
Now we can take the mic off.
Yeah, we can take the mic off.
Woo-hoo. Thank you.